The boss went away!
Okay. Tank controls online. What does that mean? Okay!
Welcome, everybody, to MogTalk, episode 188. I see Larry being good today, not interrupting my speech here. Very good. If you guys are unfamiliar with MogTalk, it is a show based around the Final Fantasy XIV community discussing everything from Savage Raiding to Chocobo Racing. And today, we're actually going to talk about a new edition in the Alliance Raid from NieR and kind of how that story is being introduced. But before we get too far into it, I do want to make sure we tell you who's on the show. And first... since he hasn't been on the show before, I'd like him to go first. Can you tell everybody who you are, Clemps?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, guys. My name is Clemps. I am a Twitch partner and a YouTube... I hate to use the word content creator, but I guess it's the only real word for it. I make videos on JRPGs, and I guess the reason why I'm on this show is I made a very, very long series on Yoko Taro's work from Drakengard all the way up to NieR Automata. I like to go into the lore, kind of talk about things which people may not know about, and I guess that's why I'm here.
Yeah, no, I'd say that'd be right. That's accurate. That's good. One thing before I go into Larry's intro, because I noticed this and I completely forgot to do it in sound check, but I'm going to tell you anyways. In Zoom, if you go into your audio settings, if you've been there before, there's a flag under your mic for auto-adjust microphone, and you want to make sure that's not flagged. It may not be flagged, but I heard your mic go a little low, and I think it might be doing it. But
okay, so where's this?
If you go down to mute, next to it is the up arrow, then there's the audio settings, and then from there. And then like under like where you have your mic setting, it has the mic level, and then there's a little flag usually that says adjust mic volume automatically or something like that.
We forgot to mention this.
I completely... Sorry, professional podcast here.
No, that's okay. So I'm onto audio settings, and I can't see the tiny little flag. I can't find it.
So when you go to audio settings, you see the speaker setting at the top, and then you have the microphone setting. It says where you select it.
Yes.
And then you go the microphone. When you go a little bit lower, you see where the input level kind of goes up and down when you talk.
Yeah, I see that.
And then volume, and then below that is automatically adjust volume. Usually.
Do
you see it?
Okay.
Is it flagged?
Yeah, it's ticked.
Okay,
it's ticked.
Unflag the hell out of that.
Boom. Okay,
it's
there we
for
go.
the old people who use Zoom for businesses and they don't know how to adjust their mic volume.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, I use programs for old people. But anyways, next we'll go with Larry here. Larry, tell everybody who you are.
Hi, I'm Larry. I make dumb videos and stream once a year. I've played NieR, so that's why I'm here talking about NieR. I've played NieR 1 and Automata.
Oh.
I'm pretty special.
Yeah.
You know?
And to
That's
let it. Well, I mean, you convinced me to get it. You're a very
I'm a
heavy
salesman.
advocate. Yeah. Absolutely. And he did the whole little bait thing. He's like, if you don't like it, I'll pay for it thing. And you're like, are you ever going to really redeem that unless you're a cheap guy? And I'm like, I would never cheap.
If you don't like it, I will.
He's still selling, dude. He's still selling. He's playing the part.
But you like it, so I'm not confident that I'm not going to have to pay $60.
Yeah. 40, actually. 40, I think.
Oh, 40.
Yeah.
Even better. Everybody can buy it.
Yeah.
$40 is what, a meal out on town, you know? Just don't eat, get NieR.
Yeah, don't eat some Cheez-Its for the day. But that being said, I have a very minimal amount of experience. People who might watch my stream a little bit, I tried to rush through it as much as I could for the Alliance, but then I realized after the Alliance came out, it wasn't really required as much. And so I stopped kind of halfway through B, so I really haven't really done a lot of it, but I'm familiar with the base of the story, and I'm familiar with Final Fantasy XIV and how the Alliance went, because I did the Alliance, and I went through the story, which there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about that with how they actually implemented the story into the game, too. But, Clemps, Clem, being someone who does, I'm going to go ahead and just get into this because I'm very interested in you in particular and your history with making videos for NieR. Was there like a day you're just like, man, I want to make some damn NieR videos?
Yeah, there was. So me and Drakengard, which I guess for people who are uninitiated, Drakengard is part of the NieR universe. Drakengard is what started it all off, and I got Drakengard when I just started high school. So it was pretty young to be playing Drakengard, but I remember it being the very first game I ever played, which didn't hand me a single happy ending. And I remember trying to go for each route, just trying my best to get that one ending that made me feel good, and everything made me feel like complete shit. So I was like, right, okay, all right. So I feel like there's something special here, and it held my attention for the long, even though it was like a subjectively bad game, which, you know, I guess it is, but I still love it. Eventually, NieR Automata was announced, which shook the Drakengard and NieR community. Nobody expected that game to exist ever. NieR was such a niche franchise. Like, the only people who knew about NieR and Drakengard were people who liked NieR and Drakengard. Oh, underground. So to see like NieR Automata being developed by Platinum, it was like, oh my god. And now, so then it was like, right, okay, I feel like now's the time. Now's the time to make a series explaining to people how NieR Automata kind of came to be, like where it began. Not exactly humble beginnings, but you know, starting off pretty wild and just working up from there. And that's really how, kind of why I decided to do it. His stories just fascinate me endlessly. Even the bad ones have their moments, like, and yeah, so yeah, just wild.
okay, that makes sense. I mean, like, honestly, I don't have any history of Drakengard at all. I didn't even know that game existed.
I don't blame you. I don't blame
before
you.
right now, or before?
No, before like
NieR?
NieR and trying to understand the craze about NieR.
Right.
I mean, when NieR came out, I only knew Automata existed. That's it. I saw that. I was like looking at it, and I was like, oh, that looks just like another one of those RPGs. They're trying to like do a date club thing probably, and just like, you know, kind of like halfway action, halfway, or am I going to date the character I'm playing thing.
Is that not what it is? I thought it was a dating sim. That's so strange.
And so I had the whole pessimistic, old, grumpy attitude when I first saw it, and I never really invested much time to look at it and try to play it. But sorry, that was kind of funny to me that I said but. Anyways, going.
Wow, the puns.
Yeah, but watching that is going and playing it. I was like, I kind of respect this game a little bit more. I saw a lot of people that I at least halfway respect their opinions, like Larry. And I was like,
halfway. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Frosty. At least halfway expect my opinions.
Yeah. And
respect.
So, it's hard to gain my trust in people's opinions in entertainment. But that being said, I did enjoy it so far. And so it is a pleasure to have you on, Clips. I just want to make sure to let you know that even though I don't have a lot of experience with the game,
Thank you.
And I might have maybe not invested as much time in it, but I'm curious to hear what you have to say today.
Sure, I'm excited.
One kind of general question to kind of go from that, and I guess I'll ask both of you guys, but I'll let Larry speak first here.
Sure.
Okay.
Is a lot of people basically told me that there's not a story really with this, and it's just like in the game. And is there enough in the Alliance raid for NieR for us to even have a show and talk about it, or is it?
The thing with Yoko Taro is like, yeah, there is. Okay. There's definitely stuff to talk about. I feel like the reason why it was a little light on story, though, because it definitely was light on story, right?
It was very, very light on. Yeah, lighter than I expected.
Exactly. Me too. It's definitely lighter than I expected also. But I think it was probably smart to do it that way because it's the first installment of it. And so maybe their thinking is like, you know, first people get in and they see it and then they're like, oh, okay, I've never played Automata. Now I want to go play Automata. So then it gives them the chance to go play Automata without getting too spoiled, because there's not really spoilers in here unless you know things. there's not really spoilers. So then now you could go play Automata, and so hopefully the next installment, the second part, would have more in-depth story.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I saw it. I don't know, Clemps, do you feel the same way about that?
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. There's a lot about the Alliance raid I think they did was interesting, but overall, there are so many people kind of like messaging me on Twitter and on Discord being like, this bit's gonna freak you out. You're gonna freak when you see this bit. And I was like, oh shit, like, because whenever somebody said, whenever somebody says that to me, because I think a lot of people know that my real love comes from wanting to see Drakengard come back in some shred.
Oh no!
So I always expect like, oh, maybe Yoko Taro is gonna bring back a Drakengard character, and it's like,
oh no.
Although kind of sorta with this, but that's something we'll probably get into with the bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild.
I mean, we can go ahead and talk about that a little bit if you want to. I mean, it doesn't matter too much while we're on it, because it's one of those things. I saw pictures and it's just like a dead red dragon or something.
It was too specific. It was too specific.
Hyper specific.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Too much of a coincidence.
The entire point of the Red Dragon, if you're not very well versed in Drakengard, is Drakengard 1, the main character. There are two main characters. One of them is called Kaim. One of them is called Angelus, or as she's known for a majority of it, the Red Dragon.
Okay.
Now, she and Kaim, this is where you're going to be like, okay, wait, what? But this is how it is. Her and Kaim spark a romantic relationship.
Dragon and human.
Dragon and human.
Oh, like Heaven's Ward. Okay, gotcha. No, it's good.
Yeah, pretty much. Honestly, yeah. That's actually, that's a good. Yeah.
We're no strangers to this.
Yeah. So they end up like sparking it was more of like an emotional thing, and they end up falling in love in one of the endings. I think they're in the other endings. They're maybe in love, maybe sorta, but essentially, what the Red Dragon says in the end of the raid is, do not wake me, Dark One. Or so, paraphrasing, but do not wake me, Dark One. My beloved singeth to me. Now, what makes that really interesting is the fact that Kaim and Angelus can only speak telepathically because they have something called a pact. And this is, oh my god, I'm going to see if I can simplify this. So a pact is when... Yeah, a pact is when a human and a beast, they combine their souls to become fucking like Goku level 3. But by doing so, the human has to give up an attribute. So for Kaim, he has to give up his ability to speak. So he can only speak with Angelus telepathically. So obviously when you see the Red Dragon say that her beloved is singing to her, you assume that singing to her through mind bullets. And so it's incredibly, ridiculously, and even Square Enix came out and said it in their bug update where they were like, through sheer cosmic coincidence, the Red Dragon ended up being a bug in the NieR raid, which caused a lot of speculation. And they had to apologize for it because it is... And I know a lot of people are going, it's Yoko Taro being cheeky, but I don't think he had any input in that whatsoever. Like, Yoko Taro, he was only like directing and writing, to my understanding. So there's no way he'd be able to like push a programmer off his seat and be like, yeah,
that's true.
No, he didn't do it. I'm sorry. People keep on going like bug. Like, no, it was a bug.
Okay, so
I
gotta argue it a little bit because I don't even remember seeing the Red Dragon. Where was it?
It's from Dark Knight.
It's only appears for random people.
Yeah. It's a Dark Knight
quest? You mean originally?
No, like in the raid, I don't remember seeing it at all. Going through, I don't remember seeing it.
It only appears for certain people.
and like the last boss, right? Or Angles last boss.
The last boss, yeah.
So sometimes some people will see a Red Dragon that's dead on the ground. Is there any part within that raid where Red Dragons are involved?
No.
So how does that model?
Well, they said that the reason was like they needed an NPC to like do some type of mechanic that it could cast it. So they just probably put an NPC in, and so the one that they chose was that Red Dragon from that Dark Knight quest shared the same ID as the one that they made. So it grabbed it.
And Clips, I get what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. That's not a bug, but it's a fucking. Or it makes sense that it is a bug.
The
Yeah,
stars like aligned perfectly.
Yeah.
But
But-
I think what makes it more magical is that we should celebrate the fact that it is a really cool bug.
yeah.
Yeah, what a cool bug. Just to
I'm
have.
gonna
Very
say
cool.
bullshit still though, and that there's
Oh.
some kind of play in there, and then maybe it shouldn't
No.
have been there. Maybe they were like planning it for something, and they're like, oh well, scrap this and we'll worry about next ray. There could have been something.
Maybe.
But I mean, my dog just agreed with me. I don't know if you heard him, but he just said,
Yep.
But yeah, no, I think for sure. Anyways, well, we'll go with it. Whatever. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw that, and I know nothing about Drakengard, so it's very difficult for me to think that maybe they're going to throw that in. Is there any fault besides making his fans happy? I guess because they're really wanting to sell NieR. I know they're wanting this. That's part of this whole crossover is to sell more copies of NieR. I would think. I had a
Automata.
pessimistic way. Automata. Sorry, I keep
Yeah.
forgetting. Automata,
Yeah,
but-
everybody forgets there's a NieR-1.
Yeah, it's true.
See, what I want, like what Clemps was saying, like what you really want to see Drakengard stuff. I really want to see NieR-1 stuff. So, which could happen, but not really.
There's a lot of stuff they still. I mean, that's another thing with Yoko Taro is that his methods of putting in like connecting stories is so the wormhole you have to go through. Like there's so much NieR stuff that isn't even in the game, which could potentially be in the future parts, like part 2 and 3. There are there's a whole bit in there's an ending. I think it's NieR ending E, which isn't the game ending. He made ending E as a novella, so it's not. So literally, you have to read this ending. And yes, what it boils down to, it's been so long since I've spoken about it, so I really please take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I am probably quoting bits wrong, but there's a whole thing with I think there's a giant metal flower growing out of this big ancient tree, which was an old computer system, and out of this big metallic flower, I think, if I remember correctly, I think the original NieR character who disappeared in the ending of the NieR ending, he's actually reborn through that flower, and Kaine and they finally reunite, and that's never spoken about.
That was in a book.
But yeah, it was in a book. But there's also this whole thing where it's so because obviously the place where NieR Automata takes place, it's essentially on top of the area where the original NieR took place, because obviously there's Kaine's hideout inside there, so it is part of it, and it's just so. I think what's going to really frustrate me is this is why it's like I need a cigarette for this. Sorry, it's just so.
Yeah, go do what you it's cool.
But no, so what is really frustrating about this first Alliance raid is that I think they went in too light. It's very, very easy to get into, and I think people were expecting a little weirder. At the same time, they are dropping a lot of little cool series callbacks, like the flower that's falling from the sky, which is obviously not flower. There are two things it could be, which is either salt, or it could. There's
white
one
chlorination syndrome.
Yeah, there are a few things going around with that. So it's either because I think 2P says that it's like a mineral. Yeah, it's like a mineral thing. So it could be salt, or a few people are because can we drop the mixed spoiler thing, by the way, because what I'm about to say is gonna.
It's spoilers. You guys, if you're watching the show right now and we're talking about NieR, it's going to be heavy spoiler. I'm going to be spoiled, and you know what? I'm fine.
I'm gonna try and spoil it in a way where you can still enjoy the game and have those. You can still go through those experiences. Sure. So, the ending of NieR Automata is a bit. It's probably the happiest ending you get in a Yoko Taro work. One of the endings has 9S leave Earth on an arc, which is a big white arc, and the arc is made out of, minerals. Essentially, it's made out of an earth substance, completely white, and it's sent off into space with all of the machine life forms data on it, all of their memories, everything. 9S's data, Adam and Eve's data, it has everything on it, and it's sent into space essentially to journey the cosmos. Now, what a few people are hinting, and I've got to admit, if this is the case, then that would be really interesting, is that the arc somehow crashed on the first. And we don't know how long it's been there, but things have started to stir, and the flower falling from the sky could potentially be remnants of the arc falling back down onto the environment. That's one thing. I mean, that's
the theory I like the most.
Yeah, that definitely could be it. And I see a few people saying Adam and Eve boss. They're probably gonna do it. They're probably gonna drop Adam and Eve on us.
They could, because it was in the arc.
Yeah, exactly.
We just recently had a sort of Adam and Eve, and they already said they can't call it Adam and Eve. So I don't know if they could even call it that. It'd probably be called something else, and they could make references to it. Because the reason they didn't call Omega M and Omega F Adam and Eve is because they were afraid of the repercussions of that. I think is what they said. Is like
they could call him something else, because I think there actually is a log. Like, after you finish the raid, and you could go back in and you can read the logs.
Yeah,
there's a log in there that seems to be from one of them.
From Eve, yeah.
From Eve, yeah.
Okay. And there's also something which, again, a lot of Drakengard free fans. So one of the notes is actually from a character from Drakengard free who a lot of people, myself included, absolutely loved. She's called Accord. She's an android who is referenced in Automata as being a weapons dealer. In Drakengard free, she is so ridiculously mysterious in her actions, in her... Accord can jump through timelines. She is a timeline recorder. She goes from timeline to timeline, recording potential ways the timeline could end badly. So she is essentially a character whose main involvement in the plot is to stop bad endings from happening.
Okay.
And
this is Drakengard 3 for us.
That's
not Automata. Yeah.
And the thing which got a lot of people excited is that there is a flyer in the copied factory. Again, the copied factory implying that it's been copied from the Ark. That is dead ass from Accord's shop. So that could imply that Accord is on the third. This is total like tinfoil hat speculation here, but and that's the thing is, and the worst thing that I feel like what I did as well is that before Automata released, a lot of like NieR Drakengard fans, what we did that was foolish was we tried to predict what Yoko Taro was going to do. We were saying, oh, he's probably going to bring back this element. He's probably going to reference this. What if he brings back this? No, Automata was this like, it had references to the other games, but again, they were so like nebulous and strange. Like the biggest reference in Automata was the library from there, where you enter it and you go like, oh fuck, like what? I feel like every person like who played the original NieR is like crying and it's like and they reference things like I think they referenced the red dragon falling from the sky and impaling itself on the tower. I think.
Oh, okay, glitch bug, gotcha.
Yeah, they reference it. Yeah, right. They bring up other bits of NieR, but it's so disconnected from Automata that playing the original NieR only serves as like it serves as like, wow, okay, now I know where this has all come from. It's like you see where this 10,000 year history has actually originated from, like where everything started to go tits up and just wrong. Because it all started in NieR. It all started when the Deviler and Popola machine, the types, they malfunctioned. They essentially gained too strong of an emotion to each other, and when one couldn't coexist without the other, they went balmy and they completely ruined humanity's last ever chance of surviving. And that's why humanity is gone in NieR Automata. It all leads back to NieR. Everything leads back to there. And
Emil directly too.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. No, Emil is
which I think we actually might have seen him in the quest.
Well, I mean, when they undid the door, was
there was that little ball, and he went flying, and I was like, "Oh, bye, Emil."
Oh no, I saw what that was.
You don't think it's Emil?
Okay.
It wasn't Emil, no, because you do you remember in Automata there are those little locked boxes that you can hack with 9S?
Yeah.
You know, they had the little machine heads in them.
Yeah.
It was that little machine head. It was the same machine head in the door. Yeah, it's a shame, but at the same time, I'm like, I'd rather Emil just die peacefully on Earth.
Just let him rest.
Yeah, just let that poor boy. Just let him die, please, please. He's been alive for so long. Just please let him die.
So much.
Well, that's the thing is, I feel like Yoko Taro's was only keeping him alive for just because he's just this poor little boy, and he's kept him alive for like 10,000 years just to suffer. And I'm like, oh my god.
Well, okay, so let's talk a little bit about that too. Is this the first time that they like added in a not the Emil entirely, but the log that you go through and do after the raid?
Yeah.
This is new. This is not something they've done for any raid content or anything. They were very light. They're like, if you don't know anything about the story, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Then the quest afterwards says, hey, you can go back in here, go through and do these logs, get these little bits of extra information very peacefully by yourself and don't feel rushed through it. I feel like that was a good idea. Although I have to say, I was short on time. I was like, all right, I'm doing the raid. Okay, I guess that's it. It was like, all right, well, let me finish up the quest. And then it was like, all right, let me go back in. All right, let me go.
Can I throw out a prediction about what's going to happen at the ending of the raid? The collections log is going to be wiped out at the end of the raid in a similar vein to how a lot of the save data gets wiped from the ending of NieR and NieR Automata, etc.
Okay.
Because the collection log seems like such a strange thing to have in your... it's like so you're going through it and all of a sudden it's like, oh, here's a NieR Automata thing. I feel like in the very end they're going to have it so... all of the records that you found are slowly wiped. Because one thing, if you aren't aware, one thing that Yoko Taro likes to do, because he had an experience as a younger boy playing Dragon Quest. I forget which one. He was playing Dragon Quest and his, I think his console turned off. And he was so devastated about losing his save data that it had such an effect on him. That he decided to essentially put that feeling into his games by making the great sacrifice. For example, in the original NieR, to get one of the best endings, to get what you would call a happy ending, you have to delete your save file. You have to just delete it. And the same thing happens in Automata. If you want to have the happiest ending, you need to delete every single thing you've done. Everything. That's what you need.
Creates a lot of replayability. I gotta say, at least, yeah. All right.
There's that. There's that.
But the other thing to that is, I know he likes to fuck around with people absolutely playing through that job, just because of the various ways that you can kill yourself and not have saved beforehand, and have to go back and do stuff like eating a fish or whatever it may be, right? And so it's just like, all right, I get it. He's an asshole. That's fine.
He's like, when I was a kid, I was sad that I lost my save file, so I want to make everybody else feel sad when they lose their save file.
I love that, though. I love the idea of having like a meaningful sacrifice, because a lot of people don't really think about... Because the thing is, when you lose your save data, you do feel genuine sadness and loss. Like, oh, all of that time and effort I put into this. But in order to... It almost feels like the biggest reward, like, oh, I've just like gotten rid of all this to essentially have like the cake at the end, you know. And that's what I always loved about that. Or you could be a really cheeky bastard like me and save your data to the the cloud, and then just put it back in.
It works out. Oh, cheat the system. Fine, they get happy. Cheaters get happy endings too.
Yeah, I was thinking that at the end of the raid too, like you know how like they're essentially putting in like these single player story instances afterwards.
Yeah.
So at the end, after we've done all of them, maybe there's like all these choices have compounded by then, and so at the end they're like you get an ending, and then it's like okay, you could replay and go through those story instances again and choose different things.
That'd be really cool. That'd
So,
be really
Like
nice.
right now, it's the black and the white dwarf at the end. So maybe the next time it'll be compound that into two other choices and so on.
For sure.
so is there a difference if you choose one or the other?
I don't know. I just did the white one.
I think
Yeah.
I was talking to my friend Angriest Pat, and he said that he chose the other option, and I think they're both kind of the same, apart from a few dialogue differences.
Okay.
Right
I
now.
might be dead ass wrong there, but I'm kind of I think he may have gotten mistaken as well.
I feel like it would have made more news if for some reason they were really different. But I mean,
Yeah.
it seemed like everybody chose, oh yeah, I'm going to go with the one that wants to adventure and go forward, right? You're not going to pick the one that's like, oh, I want to be cautious. Boring. It's
Yeah.
Right. But maybe that'll end up being the better one later.
I was
Who
about to
knows?
say, I did have a big feeling that going with the route which makes you have more fun is going to give you more suffering in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's probably gonna happen.
again, we're falling into that trap. We're falling into the Taro trap. We're trying to predict what he's going to do.
Well, I mean, don't NieR fans like suffering?
Oh
was
hell
gonna
yeah!
say that.
Absolutely.
So
It's why I chose it.
yeah.
I want to see that little dwarf dead on the ground.
Well, I don't think that would upset too many people. I don't know.
Yeah, like they bring 9S back and they're like, oh, it'll be fine. He's just angry. Then he's gonna stab them when he wakes up.
Yo, speaking
Yeah,
of 9S, holy
absolutely.
shit. Okay, so I want to throw. Please, by all means, if you need to move on to another topic, let me.
No,
This
keep
is where,
going.
like,
This is good.
All right, sick. Ugh! Okay, so I do not trust 2P at all. I don't trust a single.
Oh yeah,
word
she's probably
out.
bad.
Yeah, I feel like 9S is probably going to be the protagonist in this storyline. I feel like that's going to be the switcheroo, but again, I don't want to predict things. I'm just saying it might happen.
Well, you can. Yeah, nothing wrong. with it.
A few people have been throwing out what P could mean. Obviously, the official thing from Soul Calibur was second player.
Oh,
Because that's
okay.
where the I don't know if you know, but the skin of 2P came from Soul Calibur.
Right.
The alternate skin is essentially a color palette swap of 2B, and I think Taro must have liked it so much that it was just like, bam, put it in.
Make it a character.
Right.
So, yeah, so a few people have said I see Pursuer there in the chat. That's one I've seen, but so again, I'm trying to combine Final Fantasy 14 and NieR Automata. I'm like, right, okay, how can we merge those two worlds together? Because obviously Yoko Taro was asked by Yoshi P to play the entire game.
And he did it.
No, he did. I think he did.
Did he play the whole game?
Yeah, he did. Good, on
He
his,
finished?
I think so. Yeah, and
Okay.
I just know he got stuck at Titan.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Maybe I'm a big wrong dummy dumb brain, but at the same time, so what I'm thinking, this is my guess,
Okay.
is that P stands for primal.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I
man.
would like to think that maybe 2P is the primal of the machine life forms.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's my guess. That's my guess.
Oh shnikes.
Steve, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to combine Final Fantasy 14 and NieR Automata, and I'm like, right, what could P be? So I think
That's
primal could
really
be-
good.
because then it could be like, right, 9S is trying to kill this like bastardization of 2B.
I thought she was gonna be a machine life form, but that even makes even more sense that she's like just a primal of the machine life forms.
It could either be a primal of the machine life forms, or it could be a primal of 9S who really wanted 2B to be there. Maybe he fell next to a box of like Crash Bandicoot crystals and was like,
Look at all this aether.
Yeah. And then like she just like pops out of nowhere, but at the same time she comes out a little bit different because of how primals tend to, and that's why the color palette
Comes out a little bit angry.
Yeah, so again, this is pure like Clemps brain speculation right here.
But I like it. I'm subscribing to that.
Yeah, I
perfect.
think that'd be a really, really dope way to have a great collab of Automata and a Final Fantasy 14.
Right.
I just think that'd be so neat if that actually works out. And it will also make the whole untrustworthy thing for 2P like just that much more like.
Well, I mean, like in that whole storyline too, 9S is kind of an asshole to you, and you're like, what the fuck, dude? Like when I'm in there, I'm like, why is he such an asshole to me? Or at least, like,
you haven't got to the final ending.
I guess I haven't, right?
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask too, like, what does it mean that his eyes weren't red anymore?
Well, that's what makes me think that he's probably a good guy. I think he's probably, because we've only seen. That's another theory I've seen as well, is that 2P might have the logic virus, because we saw her without her blind on once and she didn't have it, but with her blind, I mean, again, the fact that there was such like a lingering shot on his eyes is, I think that's trying to tell us like, look, he hasn't got the logic virus,
right?
You know, he's not like loopy. So,
which you saw that already to Frosty, right?
I don't know if I got that from the story or anything within Automata.
Well, maybe not that, but like you've seen the logic virus. I think
I've seen the eyes glow. Like that's
okay.
I'm not sure of the definition and what it means and everything, but you know,
that's fine.
Good. Yeah,
I would really like to give you homework before the second part of the.
I think in 6 months I can finish NieR Automata. I think I can.
I really hope that you leave ending E with like at least a bit of an appreciation for what he was trying to do, because you're gonna like play it and you're gonna be like, oh, so this is what like this means in the raid. And it's also, it's just the fact, oh my god, like I don't want to ruin too much of the finale, but there's one thing which happens in ending E where the entire office who worked on NieR Automata are singing Weight of the World. And it's so beautiful. I remember being sat on my bed and I was in floods of tears. I was just like, and it's again, it's like, it's the game with the this is another thing as well, because you were saying before the stream how the fan service is could be an issue for some people and yourself, and that's fine. That is fine. But the fact that a game with 2 booty can give me such like an emotional response, I think that says something to the writers, and the fact that the game isn't, you know, have you seen that meme where it has the guy looking at the robot and he goes, wow, cool robot, and it has the definition like going over his head? Like that's essentially what NieR Automata, you look at 2B and you go like, wow, cool porn robot. But when you finish NieR Automata, you go like, oh, like this, it's so much more than the big robot ass.
Yeah, that's why when Frosty first said about it to me, he was like, "Isn't NieR just like a fan servicey game? Like, you know, like those fan servicey anime?" I'm like, "You are severely underselling it."
But at the same time, it's completely valid for him to think that, because from the outside looking in, it is that.
Yes.
It is a fan servicey game, because
kind of like our game, like when the trailer came out with all the Vieira, I'm sure people thought
I wanted to cut my throat. I'm gonna be honest. Like, it was so bad. Like I say things that are way too extreme sometimes. I didn't mean that. I meant I looked at it and I sighed. And I was like, that sucks, because I was at Paris when they were doing that, and like it came on the big screen, and I saw it. It was just like,
you're an old man, Frosty. It's okay. It's fine.
Fucking shit. It's literally just like a Victoria's Secret kind of little cutscene showing Vera in like stripper clothes, and I was just, what's this world come to? You know,
it is interesting because like there's a big part of the NieR Drakengard Automata fan base that does revolve around the idea of sex positivity, and even though Yoko Taro is not, he's not like actively making the characters out there to be like, be comfortable with sex and all that, like he just does it because he likes big dick. But at the same time, jeez, if you play NieR and you experience Kaine's story, and Kaine is she quite literally hangs out with like everything hanging out, and when you actually
Yeah, she's wearing just flat out lingerie. Like
it's almost like when you do you remember the whole Hideo Kojima thing with Quiet and how that was like incredibly. It was like a bit of a lame excuse where it's like, oh, you're gonna feel bad when you find out why she's not wearing any clothes with Kaine. It's like you don't feel bad for her, but you understand because Yoko Taro has managed to write why she enjoys to dress provocatively, and it is very sex positive. And it's like he did it. He's like, you know what? I want to be horny, but I want to write it in a way where I can seem smart as well. And I'm like, you know what, bravo, if you can pull it off, man. And he did. Kaine's entire story about her, just about her body and all of it's just
Kaine is a very, very good character, which is who I was thinking of when Frosty was going off about how in Automata, just like going off about how 2B is dressed. And I was like, that's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing.
I was immediately thinking of Kaine first, but you were saying
well,
Drakengard
like
3.
it's not like something, and I want to make this clear too, and I guess we can get into it. We can get into it now. But like it's not like something like, oh, shame on this person for dressing this way or anything like that. It's like
no.
I enjoy a story and I'm looking at it. I'm like, this is a great story. I see everything, and then I see elements. And then I get this skepticism. Like I see, all right, well, this looks like the only reason this exists is to pull in early pubescent boys, right? And sure. It cuts off my interest because I start to think, well, maybe there's not really going to be any good story because there's a lot of anime that does that.
That's how I get with anime.
If I watch anime and I get into 5 minutes and it's in a shower scene in the girls' locker room, like immediately I think, do I really want to go through this series and just experience 50-50 fan service here with this, or do I know
exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I feel like our opinions differ because sometimes sometimes you want a pizza and then sometimes you want like a delicious Chinese takeout, and sometimes I want to sit there and watch like Perfect Blue on Blu-ray. You know that movie is like it's beautiful, but then sometimes I want to watch like Big Titty Ass the anime show and just sit there being like. It depends on the day, but that's so long as you're like unashamed about it and be like, you know what, I enjoy what I like, then
no, that's fine, and that's perfectly fine to enjoy. I don't care. It's just that like when I see it, like it doesn't draw me in that much. Maybe I don't know. I just have when I'm watching stuff and I'm trying to invest myself into a story, it's never what I'm interested in. I'm never thinking about that. I'm thinking about things that are like going to impact me in some like I'll get emotional and I'll get sad and everything else, and it draws me in because of really deep, like meaningful things to me in particular. And that was never really that meaningful to me, so I never thought about it.
I feel like again, like what you're saying about like just everything makes complete sense, and I do not judge you like in a fraction at all because I understand. I do, but I feel like any NieR fan, any longtime NieR fan, will tell you that sex in a Taro game, you get used to it, but not in a way where it's like, oh, here we go again. No, sex is like it's usually in Automata, not so much. In Automata, the idea of there are like some LGBT things thrown in there where essentially it's like androids are just kind of they just like have essentially no parts. They can choose their parts, and it's like that's interesting, but it's not a main part of the story. In a lot of Yoko Taro's other games, i.e. Drakengard 1, 3, and NieR, sex is sex image, body issues is a pivotal point of his games. Be they violent, be they and it really becomes a thing where a lot of people are thinking, oh, is this going to happen with Automata as well? You know, a lot of people are thinking, oh, what horrible things is he going to make 2B do? Because Drakengard 3, my man, if you got to, so I'm gonna. This is where it gets a little bit dark, but I'll try and watch what I say. So Drakengard 3 is about a child prostitute who has grown up to who essentially has been abused all of her life. She has a parasitic flower growing in her eye, which has caused different versions of herself to spawn from it. Some
It's
of
a little
those
dark.
are, some of those are, for example, so her sisters are called 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They are just called 1, 2, 3. So that's what they're named.
Okay.
5 is a sex obsessed, very proud of it. Like she has like a sexual obsession, and that's just something you have to deal with 5. It's like, okay, here's 5, and her backstory essentially dives. So it's like, okay, right, so 5, she is horny all the time. She has this like she's doing all this, but then when you dive into her backstory, you realize that a lot of it comes from crippling, like this like crippling sadness. So it almost becomes like an addiction to alcohol, her like love for sex, and it's like all she wants to do is feel something, like anything, and sex is just that thing for her to do that. And what that's something that I always love about that, is that it comes across very immature, but when you actually take the time to dig into it a little bit, you go, oh, so that's what they were going for. Shame you had to buy the DLC to understand it, but hey, man, you do you. And that's what I mean, is that I understand that you see 2B and you look at her and you go like, oh, I can't be having that. Get
like I want to, like the bottom of my screen, cover it up or something, and be like, all right, we're just gonna
cover that. Yeah, cover that up. But at the same time, it comes from a franchise where sex is almost, if there wasn't a game with fan service with sexual elements in it, I'd think, is Yoko Taro okay? It was very, very surprising to me to learn that NieR Automata didn't have many things about sex in it. It was very much it was very much a story about the human element, like what does it mean to be human, and that's where the gender identity thing comes into it with the androids. But that was so minor. It's like a grain of sand in the desert compared to what NieR Automata was really going for, and that's why I'm so excited to see whatever the man does next, because I think, well, he's completely subverted our expectations. Like, well, what is he gonna do next?
So I guess, in talking to you guys again, it does help, of course, me understand it and appreciate maybe some of the decisions in storytelling, because I don't know the story yet. I mean, I guess that's it. Like, I have to go through it, right? And then when I go through and maybe I'll understand it, maybe I'll respect it, and I won't think it's judgmental about it. It's just I've been scarred so much with really bad story, with the focus of just doing that in there to bring people in. And they're popular. They're really popular animes. They're everything else, but they have nothing to it except for that. And it made me just think, if I see it, is this the rabbit hole I'm going down? Do I need to waste time with it? But no. And I guess we could bring this back to 14 as well.
Please, sure.
Yeah. So when we one of the big things they added that was huge, and we were talking about a little bit before the show, is that they added basically butts to the game as Glamour. And so this is the thing.
Love that.
It's all over like Twitter. Tuesday, it was just everywhere. Everyone was happy with it. They're like, this is my new Glamour. I look great. I love it. This is the best thing in the world. To me, it was like, man, I am playing this game that I'm wrapped up in the story. It's so cool. I love everything that's going on in the world. But my world is now butts, right? So it's like, it gives you that worrying sense of like, is this going to turn into something that is a big fan service thing, and we're just kind of catering to this type of this interest more than we are with like good story and everything else? But as long as the good story's there, I don't really care, I guess. It's so weird to me. I don't know. I get into this weird old man debate.
That to me is more Yoko Taro's sense of humor. I think I haven't seen like an official reply from Taro, but I've seen a few people say that he put an item in the game that a lot of people would really like, and of course it's that. And again, I just feel like that's Yoko Taro being like, you've all complained about the butts, we'll have some butts. That's like a way to essentially fix the ass slider issue that 14 has. So I think that's to me, that's like Yoko Taro just having a joke, but also giving people the ass they crave.
Right.
Really.
I mean, I feel like it almost overshadows. To me, it was overshadowing like everything about like the Alliance and about everything with the game, and it became like, okay, here's the purpose. Nothing else matters except for this butt. This is all that matters. And I was like, man, this sucks. I hate this feeling. I'd rather, be excited about the story and all the other things that are going along with it than this. I mean, that's just people being excited for it. So I understand it as a big part of NieR, and so it's this whole of me coming to this conclusion of I need to. Accept it is what it is and be happy either way, because as long as other people are happy, what do I give a shit? Like, I'm not going to glamour out of my Mog head and my bulky mismatched clothes.
To me it was just like, all the bus stuff was just like seeing funny jokes on Twitter about, everybody's just being funny about it, like that you can have that now. To me, really, it was more so just, if you played Automata and you really love it, it's like, okay, now I get to dress up as 2B, one of the characters that I really love. So like, to me, when I see it, I'm just like, oh, people want to be 2B, and that's just what 2B looks like. Okay,
sure.
So I don't know.
I'll go with it. Like,
it's definitely funny, like, which is what all the tweets are. But maybe you're reading too much Twitter,
man. Like, I get so many people who tell me that I'm, for having like an opinion of this type, that I'm an oppressive, horrible, ancient beast that shouldn't exist.
You're not that at all.
And so it sucks because I don't even want to say these things. Like, oh, I'm saying something that doesn't interest me. That means I'm a horrible person.
No.
But it's
I definitely feel the same way as you with anime, where like if I'm watching an anime, I'm like, and I read the premise, I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty interesting. And if I watch it and then immediately there's like super crazy over the top fan service that I'm just not even getting any story anymore, I'm just like, okay, I'm kind of turned off. I kind of turned off from the show. I kind of don't want to watch this.
It's kind of funny that you said like lots of like fan service stuff and then you're turned off, and it's just like,
yeah, I know. That's what I meant. I was like, I'm turned off from this anime, not in. Okay.
That was good.
So yes, I'm just like turned away from wanting to pursue the anime anymore. But with like Yoko Taro games, yes, that fan service is there, but it's actually usually very integral to the story. So it's part of it. And so therefore it does matter. And it's not just there for the sake of being there usually either. So for 2B it kind of is, but it's just
I'm okay with it. Yeah, and I'm fine with it. I think it's fine. And
I didn't self-destruct on her usually, so
oh, okay.
I feel like the only time when fan service really bothers me in an anime is if it's in a serious show. If it's in a comedy, then I'm like,
yeah, then it's fine. Yeah.
If it's in a show where like everyone's like, it's like a big serious drama and like the titty physics are like stretched like they're like model then I'm like maybe but at the same time I'm like, if the creators wanted to do it and this is their vision, then just let them go wild. There are other shows I can watch, like Panty & Stocking is one of my favorite animes ever, and that show is like hyper, but the entire thing is like, again, with this, I don't know what my obsession is with like these types of things, but like Panty & Stocking is all about like, yo, like sex is the joke, my dude.
Oh, like High School of the Dead did that too.
Oh my god,
I loved that one.
Yeah. Panty & Stocking, it has the same art style as Powerpuff Girls, but it's like adult rated, complete off the walls. Like, I think was it Panty? Like, she quite literally takes off her panties and turns it into a gun, and like all that shit. Like, all right. Show me more.
Okay.
It's so wild. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, this is all being introduced, and Final Fantasy XIV is seeing a lot more, because Final Fantasy XIV, this wasn't a huge deal. I mean, there was some aspects of it, but like it's really starting to dive deeper, it seems like. I don't think it's, I don't know, maybe I'm fine with it. I don't really care. It's something I've noticed, because a lot of the Final Fantasy XIV community is the type of player that would enjoy more scantily clad outfits and everything else. Maybe I'm being wrong about that and I don't know what the right word is like.
I mean, how dare you insult all of Belmont?
People, yeah, dude, Frosty. People already dress super scantily.
Yeah, it's true.
Like they didn't need this to dress scantily clad.
Well, they needed this to like literally leggings. Their leg armor is panties. It's not leg armor.
I mean, that already exists too.
It's true.
It's true. No, so the stuff that pops up on my feed sometimes, I'm like, yo, this NieR Automata stuff is like a delightful like nun. Just like compared to some of the
well, they use mods and stuff, right? It's
sure. Well, I don't know. I'm thinking about the fucking that Stormblood dungeon where the armor is quite literally a swimsuit. Yeah, like it is. Yeah, it is a swimsuit, and it's like you can merge that with other shit and just make it the dirtiest like bottom of the pit shit ever.
Like the wedding attire, the female wedding attire is like lingerie underneath. Like, Like honestly, the 2B thing is fairly tame. It's it's just funny that Yoko Taro, like, he came in and he's like, I'm gonna fix the butt problem.
Yeah. I really wish that's true, because I feel like, again, that's something which they could, but who knows, maybe this is telling for future updates to come. Maybe they're gonna have like a big thing in the Paris thing where they just inflate ass on screen.
Just 6.0. It's literally we turn into
improved models.
Yeah, improved models. It's just butts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we can get off the butt topic for a little bit here, and we can.
Okay.
There's other stuff. We've been jumping around a little bit here, but one thing that we talked about was kind of the dwarf involvement, and it's a little bit completely off tangent here, but I guess maybe it goes in the other direction. We're talking about like scantily clad stuff. Now we have bearded dwarfs that like are very jovial, kind of. I don't know, just like ha ha ha, funny, goofy, and just it feels weird mixing it with NieR for some reason. Does that not feel awkward to you?
Not for me.
Really?
I didn't think it felt awkward.
For you, Frosty, yes, I can imagine why it would be, because you've only played Automata. With NieR, you haven't experienced Grimoire Vice. Where his entire thing, he's the stuck-up book who was dropping all. He's just
that's a good impression.
Grimoire, I'm Grimoire Vice. He speaks. He has that like.
Really good. What the hell?
Yeah, he's a legend, and his interactions with Kaine were really funny. Emil is always like, he can be quite funny sometimes, and then
Kaine is like a trash mouth throwing every absurd word you could think of. Stop pounding me. Like so the Yoko oh my god, Drakengard 3 was like a failed comedy. That was Yoko Taro trying to go too far into, I'm gonna write a self-referential comedy horror drama game, and I hated a lot of it, apart from like a few bits of lore which I thought were really interesting, and the character designs. So seeing these little dwarves here, I'm like, oh, I feel right at home. I feel right at home now. Yeah, I feel like I've got two little Grimoire Vices just like jumping around and being goofballs. I'm like, this is nice. Wait, they're white and black, so there's a Grimoire Vice and a Grimoire Noir.
Is that it? Is that you think that's the connection?
No, but that's just funny.
Who knows?
It's just crazy to think about, but
it's like reaching for the highest apple on the tree. But
exactly. It's like, I'm just trying to get something. But the other thing is, like, Automata does have humor too. It's just usually very dry humor.
Very, very like, oh, we're gonna go to the mall, 2B, and I will pick you up a shirt. And 2B goes, what is shirt? And like, that's like the comedy in Automata, where it's like, okay.
And like they do it in the raid too with one of the bosses. He's just like, please speed up your dying process. Like,
right. And I like that humor. I do enjoy that a lot.
Yeah.
But it just felt like a weird mix to me. Maybe I'm just again not familiar with some of the previous content he's done.
I mean, I'm kind of okay with that too, because the dwarves are kind of silly, like in our game. So like if they're gonna mix the two, it's like we get a little bit of our world too in there. So
I like that.
And I enjoy the dwarves. So
yeah. But it just feels like it takes away from the seriousness of what might be going on with it all.
You can't have all seriousness.
I guess not. I guess they're supposed to be the comic relief, like the dwarf from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I feel like the comedy of them is going to be severely reduced when one of them dies a horrific death in part 2 or 3. So we'll see.
They're going to get beheaded.
One of them,
Mm.
I just know one of them's gonna die. One of them's gonna die, or one of them is gonna turn on you, and you're gonna have to fight them. I can just see something like that. I can't imagine
Or
one of it.
a Cinear's gonna stab them, and they're gonna have this blood coming down their face, right? And it's gonna be dark and evil and painful looking for a good like 60 seconds until they transform, and then later you're gonna have to go through the raid and kill them, and that will be it. There'll be no other mention of them.
Well, and then Estinian's gonna like jump off and go, "My job here is done." And it's gonna be for like the next 5 chapters. Like, okay, see you later, fam.
Right.
That was very hyper specific to the first dungeon in Shadowbringers for us.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wonder. But no, I would like to see that darker stuff. I mean, maybe is the world turning into like just enjoying dark stuff? Isn't like I don't know.
I mean, all the MMOs this year are Shadowkeep, Shadowbringers,
Right.
Shadow Storm, Shadow, whatever.
Shadowy.
Yeah,
they're
shadow
all
stuff, and
shadow.
then they're like all this horror stuff is getting like kind of a little bit more focus on there. We have entire TV shows dedicated to zombies, and I don't know. Is that a change that's happening, or maybe it's just always been there? And
Zombie shows? Zombie shows have been around so. What do you mean?
no, I mean like the movies, the like everything. Like it feels like it's bringing in more
Zombieland?
horror, like Zombieland. I guess yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe I love that stuff, and I'm focusing more on it. And it's becoming more part of my world, and so I think it's more popular overall. But
I wouldn't even say that like this raid has any horror elements in it at all, or like any even spooky, apart from the whole flower falling from the sky. The only game in Yoko Taro's series that I would ever consider horror is Drakengard, which has the worst things to happen to people in that game. This raid is like so. It's. This is what I feel bad because I was streaming it live and I was like,
yeah, tank fell on you.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, exactly. It was so it's like, come on, everyone, come on in. We're gonna see like how weird the story gets. It's like, right, so we're introduced to 2P. Okay, we go through the dungeon or the raid. Okay, and then we see 9S. And I remember people going, "Oh, here comes the bit. You're gonna freak." And I see it, and I'm like, "All right, what's he doing?"
What did
here?
they mean?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's like, all right, but why? Like, why 9S? Like, why 9S get? It feels like, and I had a moment where my stomach dropped, and I was like, please don't be another Evilise raid, because the Evilise raid had really great potential to be like an extension.
I really want to talk to you about the Evilist raid right now because I feel like we're gonna have a connection here in just a second. Because I love Final Fantasy Tactics. I love that whole universe. It was like my childhood. I grew up. I was like, this is the best game that's ever existed. There's nothing that could really be better. And then I was like, oh, this is gonna be really cool to see it come into the game. And then it's just like some stage play, sort of half reference, slow, dull.
That's what I was worried.
Oh,
This is what I'm really, really dead worried for about the Automata one, because what we've got so far really is nothing. We've got, okay, so 9S, all we know about that is he isn't infected. The best part about it in terms of story was going around the factory and finding pieces of paper. And don't get me wrong, that inclusion, amazing. I love that. I'd love to have them do that. In fact, I would love to have them do that in other raids, because a lot of the time you're just running through it and you're not really absorbing the history of the area. Like there are so many dungeons where there are like glittering pieces of paper.
On that note,
I love
this
those.
entire expansion, like every time I did a dungeon and I noticed that going through it, I would do it normally, then just walk back and just like go hit all the pages and go back.
That's what I mean. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just have a collection for every dungeon where you can just pick up pieces of history about a specific dungeon and read about it, and just like, hey, here's what this boss is all about. Here's how this boss came to be. I'd love to have like a bestiary of types that isn't the triple triad stuff.
I can read the book and the boy and the dragon gay anytime I want.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just give us like a bestiary where we can learn about dungeons, where we can like even like give us something so when we defeat an enemy, there's like a 10% chance they'll drop like a bestiary token or something. I would love
more lore.
Yeah, no, honestly, I love that. I love that shit. I'm so heavy in like I mean a lot of people love that whole Dark Souls style of storytelling. I mean, it could just be that where it's like you know, you figure out a lot of stuff about dungeons through the material that you pick up, and I'd love that. And I feel like this raid, if they learn from it and they actually go like, oh wow, the reception on picking up these pieces of paper, a lot of people love doing that. Like, give us at least the option to maybe after the dungeon's finished, you know, would you like to run through that by yourself and maybe pick up some little bit, maybe just have a little adventure? I'd be like, yes, I'd love that, please, that'd be amazing. Such a like a hyper specific thing which Yoshi P needs to make for me.
Me, if it gets in the game, it's because he heard me and he knows I want it.
But oh, I would love that. I'd love that so much. Instead of having to like go to Google and go like when I'm like half asleep and being like, oh, what's this dungeon all about? Yeah, but
no, I got you.
Speaking about the reports that we could pick up, there was like one that was talking about how like the machine life forms, like the private network that they're on, like of these specific ones, they like evolved or upgraded it or something.
Yeah, I saw that.
What does that mean?
Clips, that's why we brought you on the show.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. At this point, it could be anything. The evolution could be implying that they've learned how to. This is again, I could be linking
summon primals.
Yeah, exactly. Summoning primals. They I mean, how incredibly interesting would it be if the final boss of the entire NieR Automata thing was you see a bunch of machines all in a circle worshipping a crystal, and then another 2P comes out and you just fight her as the final boss, and then you go, oh, now there are two 2P primals. You have to yeah, so essentially it's like, oh, so the machines have learned how to summon primals, and you know, that's the final boss, because obviously you can't permit a primal to live. Gotta
yeah, of course, absolutely destroy them.
Clean that up.
Yeah,
wipe those bastards out. Yeah.
So no, okay. There's a lot of little things in there, and I can't remember all the pages exactly. They were kind of interesting to read. I'm sure they were all little hints towards various different things.
Yeah, they're very strange.
Hyper specific. Yeah.
The one going through the second time, I do remember there was that room full of like robots or androids. I don't think they were all 2B.
Those are all 2B.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all 2B.
Which would be, if it's the copied factory from the Ark, would mean like 2B was copied. So is that like failed attempts at reviving 2B?
Maybe.
And so 9S killed all them?
Maybe.
Oh, he's just like, you're not good enough.
Yeah, like she's not real.
I mean, at the same time, well, no. I was about to talk some utter shit. I was about to say like 9S's entire thing was to hunt her, but I was like, no, that's the other way around. 2B's entire function was to kill 9S every single time, which is something that you haven't reached yet, but that's
well, I know it now. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. As I think about it, but at the same time, it's a very, how can I put it? It's something which isn't like a big drop where it's like, oh, story drop, bam, whoa.
Yeah,
it's
that
more
one's
like,
fun.
Yeah, it's you just kind of figure it out, and 9S is let's just say 9S knows all along. He knows all along, and 2B and 9S are kind of in this weird relationship where they know at one point 2B is just going to have to kill him again, where he's going to have to be resurrected, and because the problem with 9S, he's just too damn curious. He's too damn curious at 9S, and 2B's job is to essentially kill him before he starts digging too deep.
Okay.
That's 2B's job. And yeah, I'm not gonna say anything else about that. And
that's fair. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, like, even if you say it, like, I'm not gonna be too really like spoiled or worried about it, because I still feel like going through the experience is still gonna be
that
good.
one's not that bad.
It's why I'm trying my best, like, to at least say things which,
and I appreciate it.
Yeah,
even though I wanted to have this show, and I knew I knew it was part of that.
I do apologize to anyone in the chat who are upset with
fuck them.
Unfortunately,
they came.
It's the kind of thing where we cannot actively talk about this raid without talking about
absolutely
Automata spoilers. It's impossible to do that without dropping it that there will be mixed spoilers within.
Right.
So yeah.
So then, Clemps, so then I also wanted to ask you again about these, because
Please.
honestly, I was just very confused on a lot of these fragment note things. So the ones that were kind of confusing to me were the weapon fragment data logs, which is like, whose point of view are these from?
The thing about the weapon data log is they could literally be from anyone. The weapon collection thing has been a Drakengard, a Drake and NieR staple.
Right, which is why I was like, where are these from?
So they could. What I'm assuming is that they're probably from the world of NieR Automata. I doubt they'd be from Eorzea. Or like the first, sorry. I doubt they'd be from there, because obviously, you know, it's a brand new discovered land. I'm assuming that they are like either from the game itself, where they've just literally taken, or Taro has taken relevant weapon stories and put them in there. But I don't think it's going to be like from the perspective of anyone from Eorzea or I mean, to be honest with you, if they actually do turn out to be relevant to the raid, then I'll be honest with you, I'll be a little bit surprised. I think that they're just there for the thrill of discovery,
for really. Flavor.
Yeah, quite honestly.
There's one that says the quote of like, in order to break this cycle of life and death.
That one's important. Like, I mean, that's like the key of NieR Automata.
Right.
Yeah, so
I'm just like, who said this? Who is saying this?
In that case, probably 2B.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably, yeah. Because that's like 2B's fucking like.
Yeah, this is the one that's like this blade is in motion, once gleaming white, but now drenched in red. Yeah. So I guess that her weapon is the white one. So I guess it's that one. I guess it's talking about that one.
Could be.
It's interesting. It's interesting, and the fact that we have this collab is bonkers. I thought that. I mean, it's funny. We've like looped all the way around. I was like joking a long time ago. The fact that NieR music, not Automata, the original NieR, the music got into Final Fantasy Theatre, and I was joking at the time, like, oh, this means that NieR, it's now connected to Final Fantasy, and now it really is connected to Final Fantasy. And if during the raid it does turn out that, and I feel like the biggest thing is that it is the arc, because otherwise, how else? Unless it is just a big non-canon nod.
It's gotta be canon. Yoko Taro would make it canon.
I think it would be so lame if it was just a basic bitch retelling of Automata. That's my fear. That's my biggest fear going in, is that in part 2, the final boss is just going to be Adam and Eve. Like, I've seen them. Give me something new. Like, that's the thing. It's like, that's what pissed me off about NieR, is because I saw him and I'm like, okay, it's NieR again. And I know he's like on top of a big robo boy, but I know NieR. I would have liked to have seen something different. Like, I would have liked to have seen something. I wish we're just going for like something just different here, rather than we just retreading the steps of Automata. And I know obviously it's not exactly what we're doing, and that's why I feel like people may have been underwhelmed with my reaction, which was pretty much just like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I just saw somebody in the comment that, oh my god, if they have the Queen Beast as a boss, I'm going to I can picture how that raid's going to be. It's going to have an Ozma type arena.
No.
And so the Queen Beast from Drakengard is a giant stone woman, and she's completely bald. She's up like this, and her long demon tongue is completely extended over it. She's essentially like a big statuette person, and
beautiful.
It's a rhythm game. So she fires out things that pop out, and what I'm assuming is if we fight the Queen Beast, you'd probably have to jump over the bars as they happen and do all that. And I think that, to me, I'd be like, right, that's really fun. Do that. And I was, again, it's like, why settle for a light warden Queen Beast? That's dope. And like, just settling for Automata, I'm like, damn, man, like, you have these other franchises which are like tied to Automata. You can really play around with it. Like, why not have it so part 1 is Automata, part 2 is NieR, and then part 3 is just Drakengard? Like, yeah, like why not just that would be sick.
Yeah.
That would be
Okay.
sick. That's just me being a fanboy though. Like that's me going like, this is what I really want. In actuality, what we're gonna get, what I'm predicting we're gonna get is part 1, part 2, part 3. We have different machine life forms who look a little bit different, and then we finish it with Adam and Eve, and then finally probably like A2 or 2P. That's my guess. That is like that's the worst I can imagine happening.
But the most likely.
But yeah, and that's the issue is that I was a bit burnt with the Evil East raid. The Evil East raid, I was like, wow, they've got the original writer back, and it's gonna be all this, and it just turned out to be a bit fan wanky. And I'm like, like come on, Taro, don't fall into the same trappings. Like I know you are brimming with potential, you're overflowing with potential. You can introduce the community of 14 into your weird, wonderful world. Just don't settle with every single part being machine life forms, because again, that was a problem with which I had with Automata. Is very personal thing with Automata is that I'm somebody who likes variety in my enemies, and having every single enemy be a round-headed little tin man. While I understand why they did it, it did get visually boring. And
Absolutely.
I'm worried that a lot of the Final Fantasy XIV community are going to play part 2. And if it's machine life forms again, they're going to go, like, kind of.
They probably would, yeah.
Yeah, that's my thing. That's my thing.
The thing that I'm a little hopeful for is because we saw in an interview where Yoko Taro was working on the story, and Yoshi P kept telling him, like, Yoko Taro was worried that he was making it too weird or not going far enough or whatever. And Yoshi P kept reading it and going, "You could push it further. You could push it more."
Okay. Well, that's
So,
nice. Hello,
I'm
Doug.
Hey, what's
hopeful
up,
because
dog?
of that.
Yeah.
Hi, Doc.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, that was a loud one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my fear. I don't want the raids to be too safe. I want them to be.
Right.
I want them to completely hide the UI from people. I want them to do that. I want the final raid to hide your hotbar keys. I want them to do that, because that's the kind of weird shit that Yoko Taro would do. We're in the final raid. It's like, right, you know your rotation? All right, do it. We're hiding. We're blocking it out. That would be dope. But
you get infected or something with like the logic virus, even though you're not a computer, but I don't know, your hotbars
Maybe
get
you
all
are a
messed up.
computer. We don't know. We changed the entire storyline of Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah.
In a simulation. So easy to say things are in a simulation and just get away with it, isn't it?
Yeah, they could easily do that. They could do that.
Yeah. It is just it's a fear, I guess, is that you hear about this NieR Automata raid, and like, I'm gonna bring it up again. The Evil East raid really was the point that I was so excited. I saw the Prima Vista, and I'm like, oh, that's different. Like, I know it's a Final Fantasy IX reference, but I was like, oh, that's like the introduction to the tactics raid is like this big musical theater ship. I'm like, wow, how different. And then you go into Rabanasta, and it's just like, all right, fight this recognizable boss, fight this recognizable boss, and then it ends with recognizable boss, and then the rest of the story is just. It almost feels like that "Where's Poochie" thing, where it's like, "Where's Ramza?" And I'm like, yeah, and it's like, all right, I know you have so much more potential for this, and I just don't want Taro to fall into the whole thing where it's like everyone knows 2B. Here she is, 2B, everyone.
You know it's it's happening.
That kind of thing's gonna happen. I mean, I didn't have that with Evil East raids because I didn't play them, so like they were all unique to me.
Sure.
Yeah. So that was nice, but I could definitely see like, all right, if you already know them, then yeah, they'd be like showing up. And you're like, oh, okay, I was waiting for when you would show up, kind of thing.
Okay.
I don't want to call part 1 a disappointment. It wasn't. It was fun. And that's what you want a raid to be. It had a lot of really fun mechanics, had some good humor, a nice introduction to the raid itself. But as for somebody who's interested in a bit more, like,
well,
I want that.
That's the
I want
thing.
that weirdness.
right? Yoko Taro fans are used to a bit more.
Mhm.
And so, like, it would be disappointing that you didn't get a bit more in the Alliance raid as well.
If part 2 and 3, this again, I'm open for the fact that part 2 and 3 can just genuinely flip things on their head. If they can really weird us out with some wacky shit, fantastic. Lay it on me, please. God, give me some like weird shit. Because again, like we've had the copied factory, but where the hell are we gonna go from here? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, because the next one's not going to be called that.
No,
it's going to be the party circus town, right?
But,
Amusement park.
No, I hope not.
I'd hate that. I'd hate
so
that.
many people are asking for it. What do you not think it's going to happen?
I wouldn't want that. Not one bit.
Okay. No, I wouldn't want that just because it would be going in the same order as how Automata did.
Thank you. Yeah, same. I mean, the only other thing I can think of is underground. Maybe they could work on the whole alien thing from Automata.
They could.
That would be a bit though. I don't know. I haven't finished the story, so I don't really know if that would be a bit or not. But I would think that would be a good bit. And they might want to save that for another NieR Automata game.
I feel like they might do the circus town area, carnival town area thing.
Don't say
I'm
that.
pretty confident.
It's a pretty iconic zone, so I feel like they will.
I don't want. I don't want it. Just make something original. I just want. That's it. Where would the circus be? Like, I just want like something fucking weird. I want something that you could go like, you need to play Final Fantasy 14 to play this unique NieR experience.
What if it's like the copied city, but like, because the copied city that we went into, it was kind of small, right? Like there wasn't really too much to it.
No, it was.
So like they could just do the copied city, so like the setting is there, but they
already got a dungeon with the copied city. What are you talking about?
Well, exactly. They're just more.
Right.
So I guess it does make me a little hopeful because obviously this entire area is a place which the dwarves discovered, and from what we know, we've pretty much gone into the whole, the whole thing. The question is, where the hell do we go from here? Again, my guess is because we're bringing 9S with us, I have no idea how that clash is going to go when 9S and A2, because we've already had the fight between them. So are we just going to start part 2 off with another epic sword fight? I don't know. I think we're going to get the hint of an answer. But considering how this raid really does like to seem to... It wants us to kind of experience its story, I feel like the most hopeful thing I can say is this is just a very long introduction. And from this point on, this is when things start to get a little crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to.
Yeah.
And the reason why is to get the people to know it. And so now they give them the chance to go play Automata for the second one.
Yeah, it's like I see somebody in the comments saying, I hope they put in A2. I hope for the love of God they don't. I don't. But I love A2. I do. But again, like the Evilise raid, it is thing you know. I'd rather we just go for new thing.
But they might though, because what do they mean by there's 2P was saying there's more androids? She was like, there's more of them. How does how does she know that there's more of them? And 2, who is more of them?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
There's more androids.
All right. So just because we're getting close to it, we've been going for a while. If you guys, we've been like an hour and a half now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I want to make sure to open up questions for everybody too. There's other stuff that we could talk about, but I want to give them a chance for questions. And I do have a Mog Station giveaway that I'll do as well. For up to $25, I'll do it.
I'm going to win again.
You're going to win again.
I mean, I didn't win in the first place, but I'll win now.
Yeah. But if you can click on that link and submit questions if you want, we'll try to get to them. I don't know if we'll be able to get to them or not, but I figured we can go ahead and ask it. And then after that first question, we'll start getting the giveaways going. So, but yeah, if you're interested in that, it doesn't matter where you live or anything. That's the easy part of Mog Station giveaways, isn't it? Okay, so here is a question. Well, I feel like we already answered that one. Let's go to a different one. I think this might be good. Okay, so I know the raid is called Yorha Dark Apocalypse. Do you guys think the raid will be NieR Automata exclusively? We did talk a little bit about that. Or expect to see other Yokotaro games such as NieR Gestalt? Replicant?
That's near
Yeah.
one.
That's NieR. Okay, so yeah, we actually kind of did talk about that a little bit. We're hoping
Yeah.
it will do more than just Automata, right?
Fingers
At least
crossed.
nods.
Yeah.
Like Yoko Taro does tend to do that. Like at least he like puts nods in, and
Yeah,
if that's all it is, I'll be happy with that.
I mean, the fact it's called Dark Apocalypse, like, why is it called Dark Apocalypse? I'm dead curious to see where that title goes, unless it was just, yo, listen, this is an epic name.
That's no,
Yeah.
it would have.
It is
the name
dark.
does have significance. I'm sure it would. So like an dark apocalypse could be like, the Ark is a world, so it could experience an apocalypse, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Maybe.
Who knows?
All right, guys, I got the keyword going. So if you'd like to enter in this giveaway, please, you're going to have to type in this phrase. Let me go ahead and...
Rigged.
Yeah. No, it's
Baby
booty
rage.
sliders. So type in all lowercase
Nice.
booty sliders, and you'll be entered in for the possible giveaway
Woo!
of 25 up to $25, and it'll be after the show. I'll get with you, and we'll actually have we'll figure out how to get you the code and what you want. So
Tempted
please
to
type
join
that
in
in
myself.
there. Yeah, go ahead. I don't care. I don't limit it.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, so do it.
Booty sliders.
Booty sliders.
There we go.
Booty.
All right.
Oh, Moobot said I won. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Moobot.
I have a question that just came in. Do you think there's any chance for a 2B or a 9S roleplay instance after the raid?
Ooh.
Like
That'd
just
be
going
cool.
through, I guess, a solo just to go through story and have them interact or something.
Great question.
You can have opinion on it.
Yeah, please, Larry, go first, please.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I was just more so thinking of how would that work, because their skills don't work like how ours do. Because pretty much anytime we've ever had a role play thing, it's always been those NPCs were always based off jobs that we have.
Yeah, true.
So if they're based off jobs that we have, 2B and 9S, like just seeing them fight, they're not based off of any jobs that we have. So I wonder just how that would work.
I mean, they could just make Final Fantasy type versions of those abilities and
Like make them samurais. But then-
Yeah, they could do something like that. It'll be neat, but I feel like the furthest we're gonna get to controlling 2B is the fact that we've just unlocked a coffer where you can dress up as 2B. That's my prediction. Yeah, so I don't think so personally.
Okay. Let's see. This is a general question we did talk about a little bit. We talked also about you guys hope it will be something that maybe we haven't seen yet, or at least Clemps you have. Do you have an envision of what you like, something you haven't seen but you want to see and want him to try to throw in?
Yeah.
You
Okay.
get so excited.
I do.
All right.
I want to fight Angelus because
Oh,
she's the best and I miss her. And she's been missing since a bloody grimoire extension of what happened to Angelus's corpse once it was taken down from Tokyo Tower. I just want to fight Angelus. She was the best. The red dragon.
Okay.
so it wasn't a glitch.
Well, that's the thing is that who knows? Maybe they were testing. I don't know. But yeah, Kaim would be dope. Because I think Kaim is one of the most interesting Yoko Taro protagonists, and he's silent. He's just a bloodthirsty genocidal maniac, and I think that's so Like controlling him is so fun. I want to fight him. I want to fight him because gosh dang, he's strong.
Okay. Yeah, fair. Larry, is there something that you're hoping it will be?
I know Clemps was saying we just want Emil to rest because he's a good boy, but I really want to see Emil, dude.
You want him to be kind of part of what that second raid is, just Emil?
Yeah, I want Emil to be in there just because Emil is like the one character that existed. Well, not the one, but is like a character that was pretty important in both NieR-1 and Automata, and it was like persisted the same exact character. So like because of that, I'm like, okay, he could persist and like be part of this story as well. But I also kind of, when you said that, I was like, yeah, I kind of want him to rest too.
Yeah. Let him sleep.
From my point of view, not knowing a lot about the story, I just want to do the thing that the one android does to the baby to that head. That's so far that I've seen. But I mean, once I get to understand the lore, I'm sure I'll be more compassionate towards him.
I already brought it up, but a Queen Beast style rhythm game thing in the same vein of the Phoenix fight from Stormblood.
Okay.
Like the
where
DDR?
you have to, where you have to like turn your character, but essentially it's like
my favorite thing is to like go to the other characters during that and try to take their orbs. And
yeah, you did that to me.
He was good. It was pretty good. Again, if you guys have any questions, please click on that link. I will remind everybody again here, we are in the midst of a giveaway. If you'd like to enter it, it is for up to a $25 amount. Giveaway from MogStation. It could be anything in the MogStation that you'd like. And I'll just get with you after the show, and you have to type in booty sliders to enter in. All right. Yeah. Other question here. This is a good, nice little question. Are there any NieR Automata weapons you want to see in the game as Glamour?
All of them.
You can't have all. You gotta have something, right?
The thing is, when I was like, I'm so sad that 24-mans usually don't come with weapons, because NieR is such a good franchise for it, because there's probably a weapon for each job that exists in our game.
The fists in NieR Automata are dope.
Okay.
Like, they look amazing.
There's everything.
Oh, you know what? If we could get Emil heads for monk fists, like in Automata, you can have Emil fists.
What happened? We're letting him rest. We're just gonna punch with him.
But I love the fact that whenever you punch, I think they even make sound effects. So it's like, ow, ow. That'd be great. That'd be great. Shit, that'd be really fun, actually.
I want Grimoire Weiss and Grimoire Noir for Scholar and Summoner books.
Yeah, that'd be so good.
It's too perfect. That's what I mean. Like, there's Dragoon lances. Like in NieR-1, he's got a lance. Like,
it's probably gonna be a minion, surely.
Yeah,
surely.
Like Grimoire Noir or Weiss.
Grimoire Weiss. Yeah, like I don't know, like decrepit book. He'll probably be called a mysterious book with unknown origins. I don't know, something like that. It's pretty cool. I'd be down for that. So
this actually might be a good question for you, Clemps, because you're starting to get into Final Fantasy 14 lore, and you're going to start making videos, from what I hear, as well about it. Yeah. So, do you think a machine or android could be a Sin Eater? Could become a Sin Eater?
No.
No.
I don't think so. Okay. Androids are they are nuts and bolts, but the whole point of Automata is saying, do nut and bolt have a soul? And the answer is yes, but I do not think that they have much light or darkness in them to be turned into a sin. I don't think they have much ether, is what I'm trying to say. I think they are quite literally just nuts, bolts, and with a bit of feeling in them. And I do not think
ether would be in like an organic being. Then they're not organic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then there you go. Straightforward answer.
Yeah, pretty much. I wish I could give like more in depth, but that's about as honest as I can get.
All right.
So, hell yeah.
And again, I'm going to do the little booty slider thing and little question mark because we have a good amount of questions coming in. I'm gonna try to get as many of them as we can in. We'll finish up the giveaway and still do more questions. I just did a question. Moobot, why are you ahead of me, dude? But anyways, like I'll do the giveaway before we're done with questions, but maybe 1 or 2 more questions we'll do it, and we'll ask this next one. The primal thing was mentioned earlier, but what's the possibility of Ascian connections to show up in later parts, such as the involvement in their creation magics?
Like you mean Ascian's teaching them to do the
it wasn't too specific. It's just such as involvement of their creation magics. Like if somehow the robots play, maybe the machines, they played a part of that. I don't know. But I mean, even just broadening that question and saying the Ascian involvement at all with it. Or aside, yeah, Ascian.
I guess you could just have like nameless Ascian being involved, but I wouldn't be offended if it was just purely coincidental, where the machines evolve so fast that they realize that by wanting something so much when you're around a certain thing, that magical things can happen from it. That to me is enough. The fact that machines are so advanced that they can just learn things so much faster than like a organic being. I think that'd be pretty neat. So it would be kind of interesting seeing an Ascian pop up. I know there are a few which haven't been introduced. Well, not. There's that one guy in like the intro who we've only seen in shadow. I forget what he was called, but it's been so long. He still hasn't been in the game yet, I don't think.
Who?
In the intro?
Yeah,
like in the very beginning of Final Fantasy XIV, I think when all the Ascians are all in shadow and they're like talking like there's like
I don't remember.
Is it
I don't remember that.
Or is it just like the very first time you see the Ascians all like in their little Kingdom Hearts like
circle,
we're all like there's one guy
maybe Elidibus?
No, not Elidibus. There's one other guy. Was
that La Habrea?
No, it wasn't La Habrea.
No.
I mean, the three main ones are La Habrea, Emmett, and Elidibus. So
yeah,
everybody else are just like lackeys.
Oh, maybe I'm a fool. Maybe I'm a fool.
I mean, they could always throw in
it
like
could have been one of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I agree with that too. Like I think it would be just that they would learn to do it themselves. I think would make the most sense. I don't think Ascian necessarily needs to teach them, but if they wanted to do it that way, I think they could. Like it would just be one of the lackey ones though, like because Elidibus isn't on the first. Or we could find out maybe this copied factory has been around for a long time, and maybe Emmett at one point earlier taught them.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, how long has the copied city actually been here on the first? Like, has it been dormant for like hundreds of thousands of years? We don't know. If that's the case, then that'd be really interesting. If we do find out that it was the Ark that crashed onto the first, I think that would be such an interesting ending, where it's like, okay, we got all of these like connections, and it's like, oh, what happens in Route A, or not Route A, or whatever ending it was, where where 9S goes off into space, so he becomes a Final Fantasy XIV character.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. All right.
It becomes a canon ending of that.
Like
yeah.
He goes off to become a part of Final Fantasy XIV. I'd be like, all right, yeah, fair enough.
Cool. Stop the game there.
Yeah.
All right. So another question here. I don't understand this, but maybe you would. Would this crossover be a good time to reintroduce Accord?
Yep, absolutely, no doubt.
They've already brought her up.
Accord is the android who owned the weapon shop, who was all about crossing timelines to try and fix the bad endings.
Oh yeah, okay.
That one, yeah.
She's in Automata as like the contact that gives the weapon shop their weapons.
But you never see her.
You never see her, yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I do think if Accord is in this, it'll be great. Perfect time to reintroduce her, actually. She's a very, very interesting character, for sure.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, I'm going to ask one more question, then I'm going to do the giveaway here. So let me, just in case you don't know how to type booty slider, there it is. With them adding a coffer just for 2B glam, do you think there will be coffers for other character glams? If so, and who are you looking to get?
I would like it again if they did the first one is Automata, the second one is NieR, the third one is Drakengard. I would like for them to have a Kaine one. That'd be great.
Kaine outfit for males.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Honestly, hell yeah. Like, I'm all for that. And then the first one, I mean, they've had Kaim's, they've had like Kaim's outfit being passed down. Having Kaim's outfit would be really, really cool. Yeah, I think that would be me, like Kaine and Kaim. I'd really, really like to see that.
Make Frosty even angrier, putting Kaine in.
Yeah, sure. I'd have less respect for the story. You know, that's fine. That's all right.
I think if I would like that, like I would definitely like NieR's replicant's outfit. I really like that one. But if they just stayed to Automata, then I could see them just doing like 9S next. And like, could they do A2? A2 doesn't really, A2's just kind of naked.
I can imagine them maybe doing the Commander.
Yeah,
you know,
could.
A like big long white dress essentially. That looked really, really nice. You could do a glamour for that. We'll see.
Yeah, like they can't really do an A2 glamour because A2 is just like, she's not really kind of wearing clothes.
That's why I think
that's how she is.
I feel like they'd probably end up going for someone like Kaine, NieR, or maybe going for really well, actually no, you know what, Zero could be one from Drakengard 3.
That would look really good in our game.
Yeah, it really would. Having like a Zero glam with, oh my god, having Zero's sword.
Having the headpiece be the flower.
Yeah,
we were talking about Final Fantasy 14 Endgame now. That we get all excited about it. Yeah.
Oh hell yeah! No, that'd be sick. Actually, having the virus plant in her head, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I would definitely prefer if they dove into the other franchises like NieR and Drakengard for glamour.
I agree completely. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna draw the entrant here. All right. It looks like Arcal CCA. I've seen that name.
You read my name wrong, dude.
Sorry.
What the hell?
Sorry, and I probably said that wrong too.
Rig streamer.
You have one as long as you say something in chat. And excellent. I will get with you after the show. We'll try Twitch chat first. If not, find some way to contact me on Twitter or by my email, and we will get it going. But I'm going to try Twitch chat after the show.
Heavy Yorha armor.
That could be cool.
That would that feels required. Right?
Yeah, but not as like one of the coffer things, just like as one of the gear sets, maybe. Like a tank gear set.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
No, it doesn't matter. You're from EU. It's Mog Station. Whatever.
Because technically they did the Yorha outfits this one, so that frees them up to do other things for the next two.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to ask one more question here, and then we'll get into the last closing statements because we're about 15 minutes from our time limit. I'm doing my best, Larry. I'm trying.
I appreciate you.
Yeah. This is actually... I know the answer, in my own opinion, to this, but I mean, I'll ask it. How would you feel if Taro made a mechanic so that somewhere along in the raid you switched your character with another person from your party's character and you had to control their character to play as the class they were in for either a set time or until the end of the fight?
That would be something weird.
That'd be weird as shit.
I would like that so long as I was like in communication with the people by voice, where it's like you almost have to know how other people's classes work, but then you'd also have to bring into the fact that their hotbars are gonna be wildly different compared to that'll be.
I mean, they would have to simplify it in some way, I suppose, right?
Yeah, it would have to be simple.
Yeah,
but that's true. Yeah.
What if you switch bodies and then you could start deleting their gear sets and then you could delete their character?
I'm sure they wouldn't give that much control.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'd be more like a mimic of what a white mage would look like, or like a standard white mage set, or
you know what they could do. In a similar vein to the active time event, not the active time events, the you mash the space bar. You could always
active
go into
time events. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you could go into a a hacking thing where you control the little. So you have to shoot your way out. Essentially, you could do something
you
like.
think they could do that in the game engine?
I think if they already have the collections menu open up in such a NieR Automata-like fashion, they could probably just drag assets over. I am assuming.
Okay.
But that's a wild.
They could do a hacking thing.
Yeah, make it a little mini game.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Added a gold saucer. Cool. Yeah.
But hacking.
That'd be fun. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean, 9S is doing hacking when we're fighting him, so.
It is true. He is doing that.
Hacking. That's how he's fighting. That's how he's controlling all the machine life forms. He's just hacking all
you know what? You know what? I think, okay, prediction number 2. Instead of 2P in part 2, we're going to be following 9S. That's what I'm thinking. So
I think so, kind of too, because we took him and we're like, let's not smash his face in after he tried to kill us. Let's
still
just
be
bring
down.
him.
Yeah. 2P will still be asleep or whatever.
We're following best angry boy for a majority. That'd be sick. Actually,
that just made the second part so much better.
Yeah, I agree.
You're right.
Ooh.
I guess I need to get done with his story, right? And all right, we can start wrapping this up, and I appreciate all the questions we had today about this, and this was an interesting show. I'm sure we could probably spend about 24 hours going through this. I kind of thought about like maybe it wouldn't be like that long, but it seems almost like a never ending when we have people like Clemps on that are really excited about the story and very informed as well.
You say excited.
Opinionated.
Yeah, well, I feel like, don't get me wrong, I'm always very like well, I'm gonna talk about it, but it's such a deep dive that, as you can see here with the rubbing of my eye, this is not exaggerated. I am actually rubbing my eyes because it gets that stupidly deep, and sometimes you're just like, oh, I haven't done a video on this in like 2 years. Can I have a little bit more time to rest, please? Like, like Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Sorry.
No, it's cool. Honestly, I've had a lot of fun. It's been nice to kind of talk about this subject again. It really, really has. Yeah, for sure.
It's interesting. And I feel like I've learned a good bit of insight and a little bit more respect, hopefully, for the game.
It's just a freaking waterfall of information, this game. So. Or this franchise, rather.
I would recommend, if you are honestly looking for like the biggest of deep dives, just dip your toes into like Drakengard lore, NieR lore, and just find out exactly how deep this rabbit hole goes, and it is a deep hole, my friend. It's so deep.
What was like more interesting for me is like seeing people's videos where they like Clemps's and stuff, where they start explaining the story, and they're like, okay, so to start explaining NieR 1, we have to talk about Drakengard, and then they started like saying this whole history of the world building of Drakengard. I'm like, wait a minute.
But the thing which makes me laugh is like the entirety of Drakengard is like, oh, okay, this is pretty much completely unconnected from NieR until you reach ending E, where your character is ripped through a hole in time space and is sent hurtling down into Tokyo, where the red dragon is impaled on Tokyo Tower and begins the white coronation syndrome. And the queen beast is destroyed.
And then the white chlorination syndrome is everything that causes everything that happens in NieR 1. So, and then everything that happens in NieR 1 causes what happens in Automata. So.
Sounds like there's a lot of games for me to play in the next 6 months.
Well, for sure.
You could just finish Automata, and then if you really liked it, play NieR 1. And then if you really liked NieR 1, then you could play Drakengard.
If you like, now here's my opinion on Drakengard. I'm a fan of Drakengard, even though I know it's not a fun game.
Yeah.
It's the kind of game where it's like, right, do you like Dynasty Warriors? Do you like Dynasty Warriors but really slow? Enjoy Drakengard, because it's gonna be a lot. But you do get to fly on a dragon and blast ships in a really, really fun flight simulator, and that's the best part of Drakengard.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll ask this last question before we do all the closing bits, which we're getting there. Basically, just generally, and I feel like I got the answer from you, Clemps, anyways. But I'll still ask: are you happy with the Alliance raid? Are you?
That's a good question.
Is Clemps happy?
All right, I'll separate it into a few chunks.
Okay, but you only have a few minutes.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Am I happy with the raid itself? Am I happy with the gameplay? Yes, I am. Am I happy with the story? Not really. I feel like there could have been more. I feel like it was a little bit disappointing as far as how much I was led on to be in terms of how surprised I was going to be. But in the end, I was like, okay, fair enough. It's not bad. It's not bad. It is an introduction, and I'm hungry for more. That's my thing. That's my piece.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Larry?
Pretty much the same thing. I really, really liked the gameplay and especially the music.
Oh,
like, super especially. Even the very first boss theme is actually a song from NieR-1. So I'm just like, that song, I know it's in Automata, but when I hear it, I think of NieR-1. So I'm just like, ooh, NieR-1 music. But then the obviously the last boss where we find 9S, like that piece is just absolutely beautiful. And
when the prelude kicks in, you're like,
it's less meaningful to me at the moment. I guess maybe it'll be better later.
Exactly. Like that's the thing with this franchise is like the music is so good and it just imbues so much meaning into the music that when you hear it and you're doing fights with this music playing, it just brings back so many memories and so many feelings.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was like really, really good. And then I just felt the story was really light, but my opinion is just hopefully it's just the introductions. We're just getting prepared.
I mean, that's kind of how, NieR Automata feels at the moment. Like it's like, okay, that's there, it exists, there's some story. I haven't gotten to the deep part of it, the real serious stuff. Maybe that's the same feeling as you're supposed to be like kind of slightly unimpressed, and then later on you're going to be impressed, right?
I was like, just you wait, my friend.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go ahead and say on my end here that I feel like it was good. It felt like just a regular Alliance raid, though. It didn't feel like it was going to be anything really special that I was going to be like, oh man, I love this so much, I'm going to keep doing it over and over again. It felt more like, all right, this is an Alliance raid. It has some neat, cool things with it, but I probably won't do it more than I'm required.
Do your weekly hit.
I don't even know if I do. To be honest with you, I don't do a lot of weekly capped stuff.
Oh, you just do PvP.
I do PvP and I do raiding. And if I need
what?
If I need it for gear, I will.
Maybe this is the strongest thing I can say about this Alliance raid, is that while I appreciate the fact that Automata is in it, I'm more excited to see what Eden does next.
Okay, there you go.
Honestly,
I haven't done the main story quest. That one you can't ruin for me right now because
I'm not doing it.
Because I haven't finished this patch's main story quest, man.
No, that's absolutely fine. No, yeah, maybe that says something. But again, all I have in me is the fear. I have the fear in me that part 2 is just going to be like, NieR Automata retold. That's why I'm more excited to see original Eden content. Where it's all...
That's when we'll know. Part 2, we'll know for sure. We're like, okay, is this whole thing going to be good or whole thing going to be kind of mediocre?
200%. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Now we can do our shout outs and everything else and closing bits and kind of where people can find you and everything. And I'm going to start with actually Larry, and I'll end with you, Clemps, if that's fine. Larry, can you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you and any shout outs that you'd like to do before leaving?
I'm Larry. You could find me on Larryzaur on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter and all that stuff. That's it. I'm going to go see some lanterns with Eva.
Well, I'm going to do a shout out for you. Larry says thank you, Eva, for letting him come on the show and be a part of this and dealing with maybe cutting it so close for your event here. So there, that's a nice shout out. I'm glad you said that to Eva.
Thank you, Frosty.
Yeah, no problem at all. And Clemps, if you don't mind doing a shout out to whoever you want to shout out to and kind of let people know where they can find you so they can hear more of your wonderful explanations.
Absolutely. Thank you. You can find me over at YouTube, either MrClemps or Clemps. You'll find my channel with either thing. Or you can follow me on Twitch with Clemps Twitch. It is all one word, all lowercase. I'm going to send that in the chat. There I am. Feel free to follow me on either thing. I would really, really appreciate it. And thank you so much for having me on. It's really, really sweet.
Absolutely. And so you guys have been a blast being on the show. It's great. I know, Larry, you just came on a couple episodes ago, and I'm using my resources with you. I'm draining it down, but I figured this was a show you'd really like to be on. And Clemps, it means a lot that you came on the show. I know it's kind of odd when you hear like a random person sending you a message. You're like, "Hey, you want to come on a podcast?" And you're like,
It's flattering, is what it is.
Okay.
So I really, really appreciate it. It's like, oh, what would I be doing tonight? Working?
Well,
no,
I mean,
now I can be on a podcast.
If you want, I could get you on future ones about Final Fantasy 14 in particular, and not just this, because you are invested in it. If you get really into the lore, I need to get you on this show with a lot of Anonymous and Ethos and everyone.
I've been into the lore pretty deep since about Heavensward, so
we might have 3 people on our lore show when it comes up next. Then, so
I'm highly into it. I just haven't really expressed it much on Twitter, but finally, with this potential YouTube series, I can like gush.
Oh, that's exciting.
So you guys,
yeah.
I like that face you made. So you guys look forward to that. He will be releasing that at some point. I'm assuming. You have a planned date?
2020. At some point in.
Fair. And just a couple of closing bits I want to say about everything with Frostyverse here. Last 4 nights I've been doing a shoutcasting for the PvE time attack raid event over in Paris. I've been doing that remotely for the English restream, and I've been waking up at 1 a.m. and not sleeping for a lot of my time because I work and go to school and everything else. So it's been rough. So I'm a little bit exhausted. I'm gonna spend the next couple of days sleeping. But I appreciate those guys giving me a chance. I wanted to make sure, because I told this guy I'd give him a shout out. Petzilla did a lot of French translation when they were doing French interviews, like in the chat, kind of helping people stay in touch with what was going on if they didn't speak French. And then also special thanks to Cleese out there for helping me get a little bit more familiar with Ultimate while I was doing a shoutcast on Ultimates. When I haven't yet cleared them myself, I just had to study and make sure I understood it while I was commentating over it. So special thanks to both those guys. And that being said, I have no clue what is in store for the next coming, regular streams. I do plan to do more NieR coming up soon. So having this show, I'm going to be going through my experience every once in a while, and every single time I do it, I'll tweet Larry because I told him I would.
Yeah, you keep adding me. I'm like, I'm reading, or oh no, I'm working.
I'm just going to do it.
Keep doing it. Yep, keep doing it because then I'll know.
Yeah. And then past that, next show I believe is going to actually be highlighting the Paris Games Week event that happened, and I was shoutcasting. I'm going to be bringing in one of the teams just before the new Ultimate comes out that they'll be racing as well. So if you're really heavy into PvE racing and competition, then please check that out next weekend. And what else? I think that's good for right now. And Arcal, I'll get with you right after the show. Guys, have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you, everybody watching the show. Thank you, Karar, for giving me a opportunity to do this and keep my emotional state, my wife, of course, in a positive manner. And thank you very much, Andre Kane, for the music I use in the intro and the closing. And thank you very much to Blizzana for the layout artwork I use. And Square Enix for making a game that we all have fun with. You're awesome. Guys, have a wonderful, again, evening, weekend, everything. We will be seeing you next week. Be good to each other. Keep cool. Stay frosty. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay frosty. That's my favorite.
Oh, my